What you need to understand is over the past year, we have charged over 300 gang members. That effort has been a multiplier because we are removing the worst repeat offenders from our community.
And we are back, y'all. Thank you for watching today's video. Go ahead and give a thumbs up. You know it helps us out a lot, and it helps you because it helps us. Now, y'all, don't laugh at my salmon color hoodie, by the way, okay? My daughters gave me this salmon. It's not pink. It's a salmon color hoodie. My daughters gave it to me for Christmas, so you know I got to rock it on the stream. Now, check this out, y'all. Today, Fani Willis, she had a press conference. She was part of a larger press conference today, and what she wants you all to know is that the problems at the Fulton County Jail are not her fault. There's a couple of things she wants you to know, and one of those things is that it's not her fault, okay? It is up to the commission. So the fact that she's locking people away, that she's having year and 2 year long trials, that she's putting people on RICOs that don't fit, that she's jamming people in the jail and then taking a long time to prosecute them, we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about the commissioners. Let's take a look at what Fani has to say.
Our mayor is so polite. He's such a Southern gentleman, right? Fulton County leadership, we need the Fulton County Commission to do their job. The reality is the sheriff cannot do his job, nor the district attorney hers, if it is not financed properly. We have known for years, and the sheriff has been begging for years. The jail is falling apart. The prisoners are using pieces of the jail to make shanks to hurt other prisoners. We know that. Atlanta has done their part. They gave us a facility. They've helped us in the way that they can. This is not on the mayor's shoulders. It's not on Atlanta Police Department shoulders. It sits on Commissioner Rob Pitt's shoulders. And we ought to demand that they have humane conditions. We ought to demand that the DA's office is financed in a way where we can properly prosecute crimes.
All right, so we would all agree that the Fulton County Jail should be humane, right? But we would also agree that the DA's office has a lot to do with how many people they're arresting and putting, well, not the arrest, but the charges, how quickly some of these trials are going on, whether they're charging people properly, whether they're moving these cases along at a reasonable pace. This Fulton County Jail has been overcrowded, and one of the reasons has to come back to the prosecutor's office. By the way, she's saying that they aren't being properly funded. I know a lot of y'all are gonna be like, well, what about that Nathan Wade $700,000-800,000 that you paid out to him? You know, that could have gone a long ways to prosecuting some of these criminals that you have locked up in jail. But let's continue.
And citizens ought to call and say, we don't want people to live in these inhumane conditions. And he gave it to you lightly. I've been a district attorney and a defense attorney. The jail is disgusted. If you go in there, people were sleeping in pods. The conditions should not be that way. You have one man manning 50 and 60 inmates. That cannot happen and people be safe. And so at some point, we have to put blame where blame lies. And where it lies is with Chairman Rob Pitts and those 6 commissioners that sit with him. And they have a duty that in 2 weeks, they need to issue a budget for our sheriff and for this district attorney's office that does the job.
All right, so as we can see, Fani does not want to take any of the blame for the overcrowding at the Fulton County Jail. Now, she does want to take the credit, though, for other things that seem to be going right in Fulton County, of course, right? So you don't take the blame for the things that are going wrong, but when things are going right, you do want to take credit. So we're going to take a look at another clip where Fani is like, she and other people she's been working with in the government have been putting together different programs and initiatives that, according to Fani, these are helping to reduce the violent crime rate.
Gesture. It really is a great program that gives our children great opportunity. The statistics that you're hearing about today, I don't want you to get lost. You're journalists and people get caught up in the numbers. Those are lives saved. Last year we lost 44 less people than the year before. That's 44 less mamas that had to bury their children. We should never lose sight of what these crime reductions mean. It's hundreds of less people that were victimized, you know, on the other side of a gun or violence of some kind, taking their property. These are actual human beings that now are not facing trauma that they have to deal with for the rest of their lives. And this because of the initiatives of you, Chief Shearbaum, and certainly you, Mayor, by appointing this great man in this great office. But we've done it in a very strategic way. The first thing that we used in strategy was just working together. That seemed something pretty simplistic, right? The district attorney's office, community organizations, and the police department working together. But not very many years ago, those things were in complete dysfunction. And so I enjoy this friendship now to solve crime and to make our safer city.
All right, y'all. So according to Fani, 44 less murders in 2000. I guess she's talking about 2024 than they had in 2023. Certainly something to celebrate. And as you can see, she's taking some of the credit. She's also spreading some of the credit around. And yeah, y'all, we should applaud that. Less murders is definitely something that is going in the right direction.
What you need to understand is over the past year, we have charged over 300 gang members. That effort has been a multiplier because we are removing the worst repeat offenders from our community. And we've done that in combination with the City of Atlanta Police Department.
But then you see where she says that they've charged over 300 gang members, which, listen, you're not gonna hear me say anything bad about that. But this does go back to the previous point, which is the overcrowding of the jail. So, you know, you kind of can't have it both ways. If you're charging a lot of people, your jail's going to get overcrowded, right? So again, am I saying there's something wrong with that? I know in the case of the YSL trial, we saw almost 30 people. Many of them seemed like they were wrongly charged. Many of the charges seemed like they were trumped up. I can't say anything about all 300 people, but it does seem like they may have a problem with overcharging, which is going to lead to more people in the jail, which is going to lead to an unsafe condition in the jail. So you kind of can't have it both ways, but I'd like to hear what y'all think about that.
By making sure that the officers are better trained, by making sure the attorneys are better trained. We've also worked with the Atlanta Police Foundation to invigorate our tracking unit, to make sure that our judges know who the repeat offenders are, because no one should get the idea that all young men are bad or all young men of color are bad. What we find when we look at the statistics is it's the same people committing crime over and over again. And if we can remove this very small segment for our society, the rest of the community can thrive by having programs like Gary Davis's Next Level Boys Academy. We also, in not just taking a tough stance on gang members and looking at repeat offenders, but my office has done something, which has created the first ever pre-indictment diversion program, so that those in our community that make small mistakes are not derailed for the rest of their lives, but in fact can get back on their feet and become productive members of society. Also, the REACH program run through the Fulton County DA's office shows children that gang members shouldn't be your heroes. Your heroes need to be people in the press, people that are in law enforcement, bankers, and great community leaders.
So as we can see, Fani is really, really stuck on and going hard on the gang aspect of crime in Atlanta. The problem is, while I understand it on one hand, look, nobody wants a gang-infested neighborhood or community, so I get that. The problem is, you know, there's the old saying, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? When you are a prosecutor trying to prosecute gangs, you do run the risk of seeing a gang everywhere, of seeing a gang in everything, even when that's not necessarily a gang. And as we've seen with the YSL trial, my opinion, sometimes you may create a gang situation in your mind when it's not there. And listen, the only two people who went to verdict on the gang charges were Shannon Stillwell and Yak Gotti Diamante Kendrick, and both of them were acquitted of the gang-related charges. So, you know, if you're a prosecutor who's a hammer and you're looking for the gang, which is the nail, you might find that everywhere. That's the one issue that I have with this.
Those are the people that we need you to look up to, and those are the people that you can actually become. But I have to mention today to you that while we are on a great trajectory to do more great things, The district attorney's office sits very concerned. And I would urge people, while I have this audience, to call your county commissioners while they are voting on their budget to make sure that law enforcement gets the dollars they need to do this work. Because the reality is, if the district attorney's office does not have the right amount of attorneys, the right amount of investigators, we cannot continue to exhale and to make progress for our city. We cannot continue to enjoy a safe city. And so it requires not just a great partnership with the mayor and the City of Atlanta Police Department, but we need a partnership to begin with the Fulton County Commissioners. Thank you.
So, you know, my opinion, any kind of reduction in crime, we should applaud it. Any kind of making the streets safer, we should applaud it. But at the end of the day, we also need our officials to be models of the type of change that they are trying to bring. So maybe it's not enough for you to just bring the change through what you make other people do, but also being a model of that change yourself. But y'all let me know what you think. I know how y'all feel about Fani. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.